Look, it's a very, very, very tough world. If you want your fair share of respect in a very tough man to wolf to man, pay as you go. The environment totally trumps biology. Show me what you got. It's a performance oriented situation. Either you did or you didn't. If I could have, I would have. But I couldn't, so I didn't. Compensation, compromise is the name of the game. There's nothing worse than a performer who's caught up in an environment that will not support his effort. And he's too dumb to ask himself the right questions and to circulate. Never go to make the mistake to go to another man to set you up or to help you meet a woman. It'll never happen unless you compensate with a lot of money. He's going to want a lot in return for that favor, and 9 times out of 10 he will not come through for you. It's a chemistry thing. Everything's a footnote to that. Either it's there or it isn't. You can't fake this. No matter how good of an actor you are, you're going to be seen. Your lack of correct, accurate preparation, your lack of a blooding, the experience where you have been bashed around, you've been blooded by the environment, figuratively and literally, in order to inculcate the lesson, to innovate the lessons that you need to learn so you can bring up the right behaviors by rote, by instinct. The problem is a catch-22. How do you develop that instinct if you don't have access to the learning experiences because you're disenfranchised, because you're short, you're small, you're ugly. To be short is to be small. Literally, there's no way to get around that. Muhammad Ali, 6'3.5". Joe Frazier, 5'10.5". And Frazier's called the little man to Ali. Here's a good example of that. We're talking about maybe 4 or 5 inches. He's the little man. He's called the strong but the little man. And the little man connotates a horror story. It has a lot of harsh connotations in the society in which I live, and probably pandemic worldwide. Now, you're going to get a lot of people who give you glad tidings. Who'll say, little man, make the best of it. Go for the spiritual values. Skin deep beauty, says Tony Robbins. Easy for you to say, Tony Robbins. Look for the skin deep beauty. Look for the spiritual values. Look for the human values. These people forget that Sigmund Freud wrote. These people forget or don't understand or never understood the libido theory, the id. And it's a race to gratify as much of that id or the unconscious or the pure raw sexuality unfiltered as possible. That's the marbles. That's what Sinatra's talking about, the man who comes up with all the marbles Well, that's the winner. Notice I said nothing about any spiritual values. That's a whole different issue. You're talking about that. See your pastor. I'm not qualified to talk about that. Although I know my Bible, I've read my Bible. Not thoroughly, but I have a good feeling for my Bible. So I have a good sensitivity because of my position in life as a short, small, ugly troll. And now an old man, I have a big fat belly. All the physical attributes that spell disaster out there in the environment. Period. I'm already starting with my TDH. You're a taller, better-looking individual, and it's rough for him too because there's a lot of younger TDH around that he has to compete with. And remember one thing: when you go out hunting for women to meet them for dates or whatever you're looking for, you're under a lot of competition, my friend. And if you're not a visual item together, the heights don't match up, the temperaments don't match up, the communication skills don't match up. You better really come up to speed fast, and you better bring your A game. And that's still not enough. Your appearance has to be perfect. Women have razor eyes for detail. But you're already starting off challenged compared to your TDH. You're challenged by temperament, you're challenged by personality, you're challenged by appearance, you're challenged by communication, social communication skills. What do you say, what do you do? You heard the book by Eric Byrne, what do you say after you say hello? But that's not the problem. How do you even say hello successfully? How do you even get into the environment? If you're disenfranchised man, if you're the pariah, if you're the invisible man, how do you even get into the environment so that you have a chance to garnish some of the experience, so that you have a chance to get beat up out there and learn from it? I once spoke to a very wise man, and he was so right. Now listen to what I'm going to say. He said, bad sex is better than no sex at all. I said, wait, what do you mean? This doesn't make any sense. How can you learn from bad sex? And how can that be better than none? Because you're learning the wrong lessons. You're being bashed around in there. Your feelings are being hurt, and so on and so forth. You've been cut to ribbons out there with the bad sex. And you've inculcated failure, impotency, erective impotency, social communication impotency, confirmation impotencies. And how can that be better than no sex? And then he talked my jaw shut with a couple of words, and here are the words. Because how else can it get better? If you don't go through those bad experiences where you get bashed up and torn up, and I've been busted and broken and bashed out there by every possible humiliation and insult you can put on a man. I've been in pillory when I take the blame because of my appearance for everything, even if I didn't do it. I'm blamed because of the way I look. Period. But you have to get the experience, even if it's a bad experience. And the technique is to hold a diary. And you go up to every woman. You should be approaching every woman you can with no expectancy of being confirmed, but just to desensitize, and then write it in your diary. Today, I spoke to 2 women, and I got a semi-smile, and record that as a victory. On your building these things up to, number 1, get contact desensitization. Number 2, have a repertoire of tiny, teensy-weensy victories. But now, all these teensy-weensy victories all put together don't add up to a major victory. All it is to build your resolve, is to toughen your skin. So far, you haven't done anything. You're just, as they say, paying your dues. Now, don't compare yourself. Everybody pays their dues in a different way, depending on their phenotype, that's their appearance, their personality, and their height. Everybody has different dues to pay. Don't compare yourself. There's no book on it. There's no generalities on it. Generalities here kill. Generalities are just to give you the phony courage to get out there and take your shot at it. Remember one thing, there's no guarantees. No matter what you do, there are no guarantees. And if you're a short, small man, and if you're physically challenged by your appearance, and you beat yourself because your clothes look like shit, you look like Joe Blow the shit man. Your clothes are wrinkled, they don't fit properly because of your height, you're buying generic clothes, and because you're out of shape. Because you're out of shape and you're a short man. You pile all this on and you got hell, my friend. But not to worry. Not to worry. If you got $3,500, you can contact the Tony Robbins team. You won't see the man. You'll see surrogates way down the Tony Robbins team ladder. If you want to see the man, Tony Robbins, the guru, the master marketer, the #1 self-help leader with the celebrity endorsements and the hundreds of millions of dollars and the jet planes and the mansions and the estates and the islands and the fancy cars, and it just goes on and on. He's a money-making machine, a profiteer to the max. He'll take you dry, man. He'll take you dry. This is a man who brags that he gets paid over $1 million. And all he has to do is 4 consultations, an hour and a half for a year, and a couple email contacts for 1 year. Over $1 million is his fee. I don't recognize the world I'm living in anymore. Let the discussion begin.